Are you unsure as a sports parent what to say to your athletes before they compete? Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Cohn here with Georgia Miller. We're going to give you some tips to help you with the pregame discussion with your athletes. You're watching the Sports Psychology Podcast.
What you say to your athletes before games is very important because typically you're in the car with them on their way to the game and you're the last voice that they hear before going out to warm up. Sometimes you could be putting a lot more pressure on your athlete than you realize by saying things like, I want 2 goals today. You need to be doing this. I hope you aren't feeling nervous. That just puts more pressure on your athlete. Instead, your goal as a parent should be to just build their confidence, help them feel good. Your goal as a parent is helping them to build confidence and see their strengths going into the game. An easy way to do this is to ask them questions like, what are you going to focus on today? How are you feeling? What are you looking forward to going into your game today?
I absolutely want to highlight that point that Georgia talked about placing expectations on your athletes prior to the game. Unknowingly, you might be doing that. Well, why? Because often parents try to boost their athletes up and give them confidence-boosting statements. Like, hey, you scored 2 goals in the last game. I bet you'll score 3 goals in this game. And that ultimately gets twisted by your athlete into an expectation. So you have to be mindful of how you're communicating with your athlete that they might interpret as an expectation. I remember when I used to warm up my daughter before tennis matches, she didn't want me to say anything because she didn't want me to place expectations on her. If I just told her, move her feet, get your feet moving, or go to every wide ball, then she would get upset with me because she think that I expect her to do that every single point in the match. So be mindful of how you place expectations on your athletes prior to games.
Also, I hear a lot of athletes getting frustrated when their parents tell them obvious things like what Dr. Cohn was saying, like get your feet moving, because then it kind of undermines them and their skills and knowledge. They're thinking, well, why are they telling me this? Do they feel like I'm not capable of doing this already? Which makes them more frustrated going into their game. If you don't know what to say to your athlete before games or don't know what they really like, then just simply ask them. Ask them, hey, what do you like for me before games? Because maybe they just want to sit in silence with you, or maybe they just want you to play some really good music to help get them pumped up before their game.
Also, if you coach your athlete or you work with your athlete between practices, for example, you want to be mindful of not overloading your athlete with too much information prior to the game. Because if you overload them with information, they're going to be overthinking. You really want your athletes to play athletically, to play freely, and not be encumbered by a lot of instruction, either from a coach or a parent, or instruction that may conflict, for example. That's even worse.
You're watching the Sports Psychology Podcast. For more information, visit www.peaksports.com.